For the longest time, trying to open a DMAT account in India was, well, it was a total nightmare. We're talking endless forms, a bunch of hidden charges you never understood, and advisors who seemed more focused on their own commissions than your actual profits. Then, out of nowhere, a new wave of apps like Groww shows up with a crazy promise: zero brokerage fees, a super simple app, and you could be ready to invest in 5 minutes. I mean, just think about it. You had to deal with piles of physical paperwork just to get in the game. The fee structure was so complex, you'd literally need a spreadsheet to figure out what you were paying. And the advice you got, let's just say it wasn't always in your best interest. It felt like a system built by insiders for insiders, not for regular people like us. And then, bam, everything changed. Fast forward to today, and just one of these new apps, Groww, has more active investors than many of the old-school brokerage firms combined. That's over 9.5 million people on a single platform. This isn't just a number, you guys. This is a full-blown revolution. So, that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. How on earth did a tech startup, seemingly overnight, completely outplay these industry giants that have been around forever? What was their secret? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll take a quick look at the old world of brokerage just to see what was so broken. Then, we'll dive straight into Grow's playbook to understand their secret sauce. We'll also uncover how they actually make money when everything seems free. Then we'll talk about their real advantage, and spoiler alert, it's not just about being cheap. We'll also look at the new risks this whole new world creates. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with 3 crucial lessons you need to know. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the old brokerage world. You see, to really understand the revolution, you first have to understand what the world looked like before it all got turned upside down. And wow, the difference is just night and day. On one side, you had the legacy guys, crazy high fees that just chewed up your returns, literal mountains of paperwork, and user interfaces that look like they were from the dial-up era. On the other side, you've got Groww. Zero brokerage, 100% digital sign-up from your phone, a super clean app, and a platform where you are in control. This wasn't just an improvement, it was a complete reinvention of the game. So really, it all boiled down to 3 massive problems for the average person. First, high friction. It was just way too difficult to even get started. Second, high fees. It cost you a ton of money just to make a trade. And third, low trust. The whole system felt kind of sketchy and you never knew who to believe. The market was absolutely begging for someone to come in and fix it. And that is the perfect setup for Section 2, Grow's Disruptive Playbook. This is where we see how they looked at all those problems and saw one massive opportunity. This right here, this quote, captures their entire philosophy. Their goal wasn't to build a better brokerage. Their goal was to build an app that felt as simple and intuitive to use as ordering food or scrolling social media, but for investing. That was the game changer. And they were incredibly smart about how they did it. They didn't try to do everything at once. Step 1, they started with the simplest product, direct mutual funds. This was easy for people to understand, and it helped them build a massive user base, and crucially, trust. Step 2, once they had that trust, they added stocks. Step 3, only then did they bring in the more complex stuff like futures and options, which is a key way they make money. And now, step 4 is all about expanding into a full financial universe. It's a textbook land and expand strategy, and they absolutely nailed it. This was also a huge psychological shift. With the old brokers, you always felt like you were being sold something, but Grow's whole vibe was different. They positioned themselves as a neutral tool. The message was, hey, we'll give you a clean, simple platform, you make your own decisions. That feeling of being empowered instead of being sold to was a massive driver of trust. Okay, so this all sounds great, but it brings up the elephant in the room, right? If brokerage is free, how the heck do they make any money? Let's peel back the curtain in Section 3 and look at the business model behind free. Yeah, this is the #1 question everyone asks. It just sounds too good to be true. Zero fees on equity delivery? Come on, what's the catch? Well, it's not really a catch. It's just a very different and very clever business model. Here's how the money flows. The biggest slice of their revenue pie comes from the small, flat fee they charge on things like intraday trades and F&O. Next, they earn interest on what's called float. That's all the uninvested cash just sitting in millions of user accounts. And finally, there's the long game, earning revenue from future services like loans, insurance, and other value-added products. So the grand strategy is pretty straightforward when you lay it out. Step 1, acquire millions of users with a simple, almost free product. Step 2, build a strong relationship with them through a great app experience. And step 3, over the long term, monetize that relationship by offering them other financial products they'll need. It's the classic fintech playbook, executed to perfection. But here's the thing. Anybody can offer low prices. That's the easy part to copy. So what's Grow's real long-term advantage? What's their actual moat? Well, that brings us to section 4. And it's not about price, it's about trust. And you don't have to take my word for it. The numbers are just staggering. Just look at the active investor accounts. The legacy players had a head start of decades, but Groww has just blown past them. And that's not just because they're cheap, it's because they won the trust of a massive, untapped market of young investors. So if it's not just price, what's their real edge? Well, first, it's the sheer simplicity of the product. It's so intuitive. Second, it's their brand. For a whole new generation, Groww is seen as the default, safe, modern way to invest. And third, it's their focus on content and education. They created simple explainers that made the scary world of investing feel accessible. Now, all this incredible success, this act of making investing so easy, it comes with a huge, huge responsibility. And that leads us to our next section, a new kind of risk. This is really the other side of that same coin. When you make something as complex and risky as the stock market feel as easy as ordering a pizza, you are bringing millions of first-timers into the game. And the duty to educate and protect those users is just enormous. And this is the big challenge for the whole industry moving forward. It's a real fork in the road. Are these platforms going to prioritize the long-term financial health of their users by building in protections and focusing on education? Or will the pressure to make money push them to encourage more risky, speculative trading? It's a very fine line they all have to walk. So, let's wrap this all up. After breaking this whole thing down, what are the key takeaways from Grow's incredible journey? Let's distill it into 3 core lessons. Lesson number 1, simplifying is better than adding features. Groww won by removing 100 painful steps, not by adding 100 new complex charts. Lesson 2, a great user experience is a powerful weapon. A product that's 10 times easier to use can absolutely beat a company with decades of history. And lesson number 3, low prices get you in the door, but trust is what makes you stay. In the long run, the platforms that genuinely educate and protect their users are the ones that are going to win. Now look, I know that was a lot to take in, so I've taken all the key visuals and data points from this explainer and put them into a handy PDF slide deck and a 1-page infographic for you. The link to download both for free is right there in the description, but hang on for just one more second, because this last point is maybe the most important one of all. And this is so critical, please remember this. Just because an app is easy to use, it does not mean investing is low risk. The simplicity of the app removes the hassle, not the inherent risk of the market. At the end of the day, your returns will be decided by your decisions and your research, not by the app you use. Hey, if this breakdown helped you understand things a little better, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And make sure you subscribe to Finologix and hit that bell icon so you never miss our next case study. We drop new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. IST. अगर वीडियो पसंद आया तो लाइक और सब्सक्राइब करें. Finologix पर.